Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we're going to be covering the Year series once again. So actually, a few weeks ago, I actually started this series. So if you are unfamiliar with this series, what I do is I like to cover a year, a random year at that, and cover my top 5 favorite films from that year. And so what happened was, initially when I started this thing, where I wanted to engage with you in the community, I picked a random number generator where I randomly got 1940, and that's where it all started. So I started with 1940, and I talked about my 5 favorite films from that year. So if you want to go in the description down below, you can check out that as well. But what I asked you as people who are watching this, I wanted you to give me another year down in the comment section. And we can just keep going through this randomly as different years come about. And I thought this was a really cool idea to engage with all of you. So I want to give a huge shout out to Mark's Movie Menu, who actually chose the year for this one, where I randomly chose it and I found 1955, which is an incredible year. And I cannot wait to talk about my 5 favorite films from this year. So huge shout out to you, Mark, for putting that one out. And so if you want to join along with this and pick the next random year, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section down below. Make sure I haven't already covered it, so don't put 1940, of course, as we're going to continue with this, every other week or so, just depending on how often I want to do this. But it's something I want to engage with you and kind of go throughout the years with each of these, these specific years and highlighting, movies that came out around this time. With that being said, let's cover 1955. And 1955 is a hell of a year, and it was really hard to choose from amongst a lot of things. And in fact, I want to talk about a couple of films like Rafifi and the like, and I just can't cover them. But I want to cover my top 5. So going in descending order from 5 to 1, here we go. So the first film I want to talk about is one from Warner Archive that has Spencer Tracy at an all-time high. And I'm talking about Bad Day at BlackRock, which actually was based on a short story. I don't remember the short story's name, but it's definitely a little bit different. It's not Bad Day at BlackRock, but it has Robert Ryan in it. It has Lee Marvin in it. It's got a really great cast, actually. And this is actually a film that I think is not talked about enough. It's a neo-Western of sorts. Came out, like I said, in 1955, so Westerns were still pretty strong, but this was definitely more of a modern one, where it was covering post-World War II. And in fact, it actually covers a lot of anti-Japanese sentiment and what happened to a certain character in this, and that's actually the reason that Spencer Tracy is in this particular desolate town called Bad Rock. And the people there are just hiding secrets. And it's just a really well-acted film, and one with a lot of tension. There's a lot of really cool scenes in it that involve car chases and saloon fights of sorts. But yeah, Bad Day at BlackRock is a really great film that I don't think is talked about enough, and you can get it pretty easily through Warner Archive. So I definitely recommend checking this one out. It's a great film. Next is a film that I desperately need to rewatch, but it is my number 4 choice. It is from Henry Georges Clouzot, and that is The Albelique, which is a French film from 1955, of course. And this is a film that has insane twists and turns, and I absolutely love it. This is a mystery of sorts where there's 2 women, and there's murder, and people that are like, there's dead bodies, and you don't exactly know what's going on. And it really is something that it was a prototype for a lot of the films that would come out after it. And I think this is a really, great film, and particularly would influence people like Hitchcock or Roman Polanski at the time. These are the films that would come out afterwards, after Diabolique, which is just an incredible film, and it still kind of shocks you today. So if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give anything away, but oh my gosh, it is such a great film to watch, and certainly a film to rewatch and just kind of see the intricacies of it. So I definitely recommend checking this film out because it's an incredible one. It's on Criterion. It's actually on sale right now, so if you can get it on the Barnes & Noble site. I'll probably mention that several other times because a lot of the other films that we're going to talk about are from Criterion. But Diabolique, please go check it out. It's an incredible film. All right, so next we're going to talk about actually a box set, but one film in particular, one that actually has stayed with me since childhood, actually, and I'm talking about the Carol Zeman 3 Fantastic Journeys by him, but I'm talking about Journey to the Beginning of Time, which I actually watched the American edition, which would come out a little bit after this, but I watched, of course, this original version. This is a Czech version, so this is a Czech film, but it's about 4 boys who go into this tunnel on a boat and end up on the other side in a prehistoric time period. And in fact, a lot of the things like Journey to the Center of the Earth, things around this time, a lot of the science fiction blending in with maybe that dinosaur and also the discovery and adventure film. It kind of combined all that together, and it was just a really fascinating thing. Claymation, of course, this is what Carol Zeman really spotlights in this film collection right here from him. And this is definitely just the start of that incredible journey. But from 1955, this one has a special place in my heart. Like I said, I had watched this as a kid growing up. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Who wasn't in the 90s and the early 90s, especially watching Jurassic Park and the like. But oh my gosh, this was another film that I remember watching on TV, and just almost like that transition from black and white to color. And then seeing like a woolly mammoth as a claymation, it was just an incredible sight. And it's certainly really represents the craft really, really well. And I think that's the reason why this box set is just phenomenal and needs to be watched. It's just, there's a lot of painstakingly, hard work put into these things. And I'm kind of blown away by the fact that this medium has stuff like this. And that's exactly why Journey to the Beginning of Time right here is an incredible film. I almost keep switching it up with Journey to the Center of the Earth. Very similar film, right? But anyway, definitely check this film out. Watch the English version if you want to, but also, watch the original Czech version. It's incredible. So check out this film and the box set in general. It's an incredible one from Criterion. All right, we're approaching number 2 and number 1, which is really hard to choose between, but I had to go with this one. As number 2, this is a film that I actually recently talked about not too long ago when I brought up Ali Fear Eats the Soul from Fassbinder. But I'm talking about All That Heaven Allows. All That Heaven Allows, goodness gracious, by Douglas Sirk. This is one of the best melodramas of all time from the 50s, and it was a sharp critique of the time and of society at the moment, and the fact that like there's these forbidden relationships that existed, and taboos that you wouldn't cross, you wouldn't switch things around, and you wouldn't figure out how everybody in the town was talking about you and your shit, right? It's a lot of that kind of all put together in this incredibly beautiful film. It is a gorgeous film. I mean, look at that cover. It's already gorgeous enough, right? And this nice kind of fall and then blue, of course. But we have Rock Hudson, who is our main character, and then Jane Wyman, who is the well-off widow. So more or less what happens is Jane's character, who is a widow, who is a lot older, runs into Rock Hudson, who was helping out with some odd projects, and kind of falls in love with him. And that romance is definitely, like I said, a taboo in society. And it is certainly one where a lot of people will just have their own opinion about things, and it's still very relevant to today, where we are always in everyone else's business, and we should honestly just mind our own for the most part, as long as we're not hurting anyone else. It's really hard to cross that line, but I think All That Heaven Allows really presents a really great picture in terms of sharp social critique, and then also balancing that romance, and an incredibly beautiful film, and a really well acted film as that too. So definitely check out All That Heaven Allows. It's an incredible film that I think everyone should definitely check out. I don't know how many times I've seen Incredible, but here we are. And last but certainly not least is probably the best film from this year, and a lot of people will probably say the same thing, hopefully. But I'm talking about Night of the Hunter. So this is the Kino Lorber 4K that just recently came out. I also have the Criterion in my Criterion closet over there. But oh my gosh, Robert Mitchum is a monster in this film. It also has Shelley Winters in one of her best performances ever, which is crazy, as an older woman who kind of takes in these kids. So to kind of give you a small plot synopsis is you have 2 kids, a wife and a husband, and then Robert Mitchum. The husband, actually, at the very beginning of the film, he's caught in a bank robbery scandal and eventually executed, but he's cellmates with Robert Mitchum. And Robert Mitchum, praise tell of like a lot of the money is still somewhere around where he was at. So he comes around as a preacher, putting the good gospel out, and pretty much manipulates, the widow and these kids. And it's really, Robert Mitchum chasing these kids down, trying to get this treasure, this money. And it's incredibly unsettling. It is an unsettling film from 1955, but it's an absolutely gorgeous film as well, because it just looks and is presented in such a beautiful and gorgeous way, which is kind of creepy. It's definitely a fairy tale of sorts. And Charles Lofton, who has only done one film, this is the film that he had directed, and did not financially succeed with this, unfortunately, and passed a few years after this. But it is just a film that has become like a classic. TCM plays it all the time. It's one of the greatest films in America, probably of all time, and it's certainly number 1 in the 1955 category, because this is a really incredible film that will put through the array of emotions that exist. And you'll be unsettled, but you'll also have a really good time at the same time, weirdly enough. I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, I'm sure you've watched it before, but I want to know down in the comment section down below, first of all, tell me another year that we can choose, and we'll go with that, and we'll go randomly, and we'll try to find another year we can talk about the top 5 films from that year. But also tell me about, you know, your favorite films from 1955. I want to know down in the comment section down below, what are some of your favorite films from 1955? What did I miss? What do I need to check out? I would love to know in the comment section down below. So thank you so much for checking this video out. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.